Hello there! You're listening to the Pinoy MCU Fan, a bunk collective Filipino podcast where I get to talk about everything and anything Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm your host, Jim. Hi everyone! Welcome back! Finally! Another movie review from the Pinoy MCU Fan. Wow! Nasa movie review era na ako. Hindi, charot. Pero okay. Okay, so, again, inuulit ko lang. I know I said this in the last episode, so I'm just saying it again. I'm sorry for the super late review. Like I said in my last episode, hindi naman ako movie review writer. So, I'm not like going to review every movie as soon as it comes out. Hindi ko naman trabaho yun. Wow. Hindi ko naman trabaho yun. Pero ano, I don't know. I feel like it's much better for me personally to review an MCU release like super months after because I have to admit that yung unang reaction ko is always going to be different from what I actually thought about the movie. So I feel like it's a good practice for me to always delay my review. Feeling ko for Thor Love and Thunder, it came out in July. Nag-premiere siya noong July and then it came out on Disney Plus nung September. So I feel like that whole yung break ko din nagpantay din dun sa usual timeline ko when I review things. So, yeah. And besides, this is just my opinion and experiences. Watching the film, syempre, it's still my opinion. So yun, if you're a new listener, ayun nga, sometimes I do review the recent MCU releases. And honestly, I don't feel like rushing the review kasi nga, the time has given me a chance to really balance out my thoughts and reactions to the film or TV show release. Diba? And yes, I do feel like I'm over explaining myself before sharing my thoughts on Thor Love and Thunder. Kasi, come on, we gotta agree that Thor Love and Thunder received a lot of super mixed reviews from critics and also from us. And when I say us, I mean like tayo on social media. And also I heard a lot of like mixed reactions from my friends who watched the film and also from the people that I follow on Instagram. So, yung mga pina-follow ko sa Instagram using may Pinoy MCU Fan Instagram, dami, puro mixed talaga yung reviews. And I know that I talked to some of you guys and mixed talaga yung reviews natin sa isa't isa. Review natin dun sa movie. So, of course, ayun, when I say mixed reviews, I mean that I saw a lot of people who really liked it, and I also saw a lot of people who didn't like it, and I also saw a bunch of people who are like 50-50 on the film. So, yun. So, before I share my thoughts, oh my god, guys, I have some news for you. Oh my god, so if you guys follow me on Instagram, the Pinoy MCU fan is now part of Bunk Collective. Oh my god, yay! I'm super excited. I'm super happy. I'm super excited. I'm super grateful. I'm beyond thankful to be a part of an amazing group of podcasters. I super love Bunk Collective and I like listening to their shows and I can't believe that I am now part of their collective. So my personal faves from Bunk Collective are Cinephiles and Hainayan at Agham. So I really like listening to those podcasts and nung una nakikinig lang ako sa kanila pero I was so shocked to find out that they're actually under Bunk Collective. So yun. So Bunk Collective has a lot of variety of shows, podcast shows that you guys can definitely check out. So don't hesitate to visit thebunkph.com, okay? Yan. So actually a fun fact that I'd like to share is that this episode of mine on Thor, Love and Thunder, and then me sharing the news that I'm now part of Bunk Collective is really a full circle moment for me because when Thor 4 came out in July, I watched it on the weekend of the premiere week in a mall in BGC. So my partner and I just finished watching Thor, and then when we came out of the theater, there was this long line to the Thor showing in the theater beside ours. And then there was this one guy in line wearing a Bunk Collective t shirt. So I told my boyfriend agad like, "Hey, look at that guy. He's wearing a bunk shirt. He's probably part of Bunk Collective. I should probably reach out to Bunk, right?" Parang nasa isip ko na, oh my God, ito na ba yung sign? Ito na ba? So, bale, then a few weeks after that encounter with Destiny, wow. Wow, Destiny. No? Right, Destiny. I finally reached out to Bunk Collective and now I'm here. I am part of Bunk Collective. Oh my God. It's ano lang, I find it very like wow. I feel like if I didn't see that bunk guy during the Thor screening, I don't think I would have reached out to Bunk and finally checked this off goal of mine for my bucket list. Because actually, when I started podcasting, when I'm starting to be really into podcasting, I'm like, you know what? It's actually a goal of mine to be a part of like a collective or like a network, I'd say. Pero yeah, I'm really happy that I'm with Bunk right now because they're super cool. They're super cool and they're super amazing and they're super supportive and I'm super excited to learn a lot from them, to be honest. And yeah, this is truly a full circle moment for me. So yeah, thank you Thor for showing me towards destiny. Wow, diba? Destiny talaga, G talaga ako sa Destiny. So yun, shout out to Bunk Collective and I'm super super excited to learn from you guys. Oh my god. Okay, so speaking of Destiny, ang galing 'no, ang galing ko mag-connect. Na-connect ko siya sa Destiny. Connect-connect lang, char. And then pero yes, Thor: Love and Thunder. Okay, so we all know that it came out in July. Sabi ko nga kanina, it came out in July and then in September, nasa Disney Plus na siya. So if you guys haven't watched Thor 4 yet, please do and then go back to this episode because as usual, there's gonna be a lot of spoilers in this podcast episode. So yun, I'm giving you guys time to alis muna. Pero if you guys have seen it, keep listening, please. So, wow. So, yun. So, Thor, in my opinion, seemed kind of lost in the beginning of the film. Jane Foster is back, and she's mighty Thor, and she also has cancer. So, Korg, the rock alien, is here as well. He's still that funny rock. We have King Valkyrie. King Valkyrie is here doing king stuff. Lady Sif is back too. Our fave intern turned astrophysicist. Darcy Lewis is back. She did one scene, and of course, we all know that they got Batman playing the bad guy in Thor: Love and Thunder. The charot-charot lang. Syempre, of course, yes, Christian Bale as Gore. And yes, meron pong goats sa Thor, and they're super loud as heck. Oh my god. Oh my god, the goats. Nako-cornyan ako sa goats, so I kinda didn't like them. I'm sorry. But my boyfriend was like having fun with the goats. Tawang-tawa siya. So I love that for him. I love that for the goats. I love that for them. Okay, so I'm gonna admit that my first thoughts in this movie are so different from my thoughts now. Yeah, I really took the time to take it easy on this movie and like really organize my thoughts first before, releasing this episode. Or I mean recording this episode. So I rewatched Love and Thunder like a bunch of times in September when it came out on Disney Plus. So I really wanted to like, you know what, let me check if my thoughts are like checks out with this one. So yeah, I'll start sharing the fun stuff that I really liked in Thor Love and Thunder. So the first one I have here on my list, wow, yes, I did make a list po. Yeah, but that was easier syempre for recording, diba? So, I do find that it was really nice seeing Guardians of the Galaxy with Thor because when Infinity War came out, I really enjoyed it when the Guardians found Thor. And then with Endgame, I was really excited when Thor decided to join the Guardians in space. May chemistry din talaga kasi si Thor with the Guardians of the Galaxy, di ba? However, I felt like the whole Guardian scene in Thor 4 was cut short. I mean, it was kind of a few minutes longer with Peter and the gang. Parang more interaction between Thor and the Guardians. Kasi feeling ko parang literal na onti lang, onti lang sila sa intro. But nonetheless, I really enjoyed it, even though it was a short intro with the Guardians. So speaking of introduction, oh wow, wow, introduction. But yeah, not gonna lie, I actually missed the first part of the movie. I missed the intro part of the movie when we watched it in the theater. But that's okay, I'll talk about this later. But of course, when I was able to watch the whole thing from the beginning to the very end on Disney Plus, it really made me feel very connected with Gore. His backstory is very, in a sense, very relatable and can come close to the heart to most viewers. Feel na feel ko rin talaga si Gore, yung mga pinagdaanan niya. I personally found it kind of satisfying when he killed the sun god. His name is Rapu, apparently. Rapu. Basta yung god ni Gore when he killed the god. Yeah, I found that really satisfying. But yeah, we all know that the Necro Sword literally poisoned the one who wields it. So in a sense, when he killed Rapu, he went on a rampage to kill all gods. So parang, I get it. Gets kita. Pero I feel like it's too much. But then again, yeah, he has a necro sword, so it's kind of expected that his views of the world is going to be poisoned, infected in a sense. Ayun. And also, I like the new look of New Asgard. It was really interesting. I found it interesting. It's such a small village, yet Valkyrie made it into this like mini Disney World ish. I do have a nitpick though on the new Asgard introduction. I dislike one of the stores. Oh my god. I dislike that one store, Infinity Cones. I kind of dislike that. But anyway, I'm not gonna discuss that too much. I'll just probably share my thoughts about it on Instagram. But anyway, the fight scene in New Asgard was amazing. This is where we were introduced to Mighty Thor, Jane Foster. Girl, get it! You look amazing. I love it. She's strong as hell, and Jane fights good. I really like the fight choreography that they gave for Jane. It really makes sense for me. I don't know how to explain it, but she's an efficient fighter, and I really want her arms. I really want it. It reminds me of Korra arms, like from Korra, the Legend of Korra. Yung season Yeah, season 2 ba yun? No, it's like yung sumunod na series kay Avatar. Avatar, The Last Airbender. So yun. I swear, I'll start working out soon and I'll eventually look like Mighty Thor. Wow. Lalagay ko sa bucket list goals ko yun. I'm gonna have arms that I can cosplay Mighty Thor. Charot. Pero yeah, I really like her arms. I dream of having arms like that. When I have the energy, I'll try have arms like that. But yeah, speaking of scenes, y'all, Omnipotent City. Wow. Okay, I have to admit, nabubulol ako sa pagsabi ng Omnipotent City. Anyway, basta, I was beaming. I was smiling so hard in a theater when the camera panned around the big golden room. I was honestly looking for any Greek or Roman gods that I can, identify because I'm such a big Percy Jackson fan. And I was also looking for a Pacific Islander god, which I do know that Taika will make sure to include one because Taika Waititi is actually half my Maori. I'm so sorry if I'm butchering that indigenous name. But yeah, and he did actually included a Maori god in the film. I had to watch the assembled episode of Thor Love and Thunder to really see which gods in the film they included. It was such a fun watch, to be honest. I recommend that you guys watch Assemble Thor Love and Thunder. It's also on Disney Plus. It's amazing. I really like that behind the scenes. Another thing that I liked in Thor Love and Thunder, Taika Waititi really has a he really has a thing for shadows. So we saw on Thor Ragnarok that scene with Valkyrie and Hela. That scene was so beautiful. So when in Love and Thunder, Thor mentioned they have to go to the Shadow Realm. Alam ko na agad, like, oh my god, another really good scene, really aesthetic scene with in this Thor movie. And ayun nga, ang ganda talaga. Alam natin yung scene na yun is gonna look good. And it did look good. So I really appreciated that scene because it was shot really well. And also, it really made Gore look more intimidating in a way. I really loved how Jane made Mjolnir a lamp. And I like how light is depicted differently in the Shadow Realm. And yeah, I enjoy yung lalo na yung Mjolnir lamp. I really enjoyed how the light is giving off through the cracks of Mjolnir. And I love how Jane nga is such a she really utilizes everything with Mjolnir. So I really enjoyed that Shadow Realm scene. I truly enjoyed how they depicted everything from the fight scenes, from the meet up, from between all four of them, and the conversation that they had in that realm was kind of eye opening as well. So it was really, really amazing. The fight scene was incredible. They really used the lights really well. I really enjoyed how Mjolnir, Stormbreaker, and the Thunderbolt was lighting up the Shadow Realm. I still can't get over it, to be honest. The fight scene was incredible. See, paulit-ulit ako kasi bet na bet ko talaga yung fight scene dun. So, feeling ko talaga worth it yung binayad ko sa sinihan because I was able to witness of the Shadow Realm scene on the big screen. So, yeah, very worth it yung binayad. So, yeah, speaking of fight scenes, yo, the final fight scene when Thor granted the kids the power of Thor for a limited time only. That was amazing. That was amazing. I was like, you know what? My little sister needs to watch this movie. She will love this scene. It's a really fun scene, and I feel like if I watched Thor Love and Thunder when I was like 7 or 8, I definitely want to be Asgardian then and there. Like, I wouldn't mind if I was kidnapped by Gore the God Butcher, because that would mean that I would be able to kick the ass. Well, kick the ass. I will able to kick ass, right? I will be a fighter. I will be a warrior. I will be a Thor warrior in a sense, you know. It was incredible, honestly. It's like being a kid Avenger for a limited time only. Yeah, and speaking of kids, yeah, how are the kids in that scene? Anak nila Taika Waititi, ni Christian Bale, ni Natalie Portman. Yeah, and it was such a fun scene. I truly enjoyed it. I bet tuwang-tuwa yung mga batang yon. Kaya din feeling ko, eto hot theory, isip-isip ko lang, feeling ko kaya tuwang-tuwa din si Christian Bale na maging part of the MCU kasi matutuwa yung anak niya. Kasi nakasama yung anak niya. Same for Natalie Portman, I think. Kaya din siya, like, I mean, of course, she has no choice but to join the cast because, you know, she is Jane Foster and she is meant to wield Mjolnir. So yeah, pero I feel like extra tuwa din dun sa mga magulang na yung mga anak nila, 'di ba? Nasa Thor, nasa MCU film, tapos meron pa silang fight scene, 'di ba? Nakakatuwa. Yun. And also, dun din sa last fight scene na yon na, syempre, one-on-one at sila kay Gore. Thor kind of looked pretty awkward. Not gonna lie, pero Mighty Thor, she really finished that one really good. I loved it. I really love her. I really like her. Oh my god. When she destroyed the Necro Sword, that was amazing. Queen shit, guys. That is just some queen shit right there. I really enjoyed that. Weirdly enough, I enjoyed the actual finale here. Lalo na nung nandun na sila sa Eternity. Because yung change of heart ni Gore is really heartfelt. I really empathize with him. I don't know why, but I really do. He's been through a lot before staying the gods. He's been through a lot. And I appreciate how the Necro Sword was destroyed before he reached Eternity. I think that really provided clarity for him din talaga na hindi na masyado poisoned yung utak niya kasi nga wala na yung Necro Sword. So, when he arrived at Eternity, nandun na talaga yung parang may clarity na siya. Parang naalala niya kung bakit niya to ginagawa in the first place, which is for his anak, di ba? So, yun. Before we talk about the actual action finale, let's talk about the characters muna. And of course, I'm gonna share my thoughts on them. So, of course, Thor. Thor by Chris Hemsworth, played by Chris Hemsworth. He's funny. He's really funny, but there are times that I just found the humor kind of corny. I guess it's just not my style. Honestly, hindi lang ako natatawa sa ibang parts. Sorry po talaga. Medyo nakortihan kasi talaga ako. So yeah, I know that they said na Chris Hemsworth, ito yung authentic Chris Hemsworth. So, ganito talaga yung humor niya. I guess hindi ko lang talaga siya na ano, I guess I just don't find Aussies funny. Charot lang, joke lang. Pero yeah, siguro of course given na yun sa audience mo na depende rin yung funny sa kanila. So I guess ayun po. Hit or miss lang din talaga yung humor sa akin ni Chris Hemsworth. I'm so sorry po. Feel ko sorry ako ng sorry So I feel bad that I didn't like some of the jokes. Pero yeah, pero yung boyfriend ko talaga tawang-tawa siya. Tawang-tawa siya. So that's good for him. Good for him, 'di ba? Nag-enjoy yung jowa ko. Pero ako, yung ibang jokes po medyo hit or miss lang. For example, the first joke with Stormbreaker, that was kinda funny for me. Kasi ba nagsasela si Stormbreaker kay Mjolnir? That was kinda funny, but several jokes after that, I didn't find it funny na. So yun, one of the examples. Moreover, I think Thor's arc here was kinda messy, to be honest. Medyo magulo siya sa una, pero siguro kasi nasanay na ako sa Thor natin na mostly serious and not as playful as the Thor that we see now. So, malaki talaga yung pagbabago niya compared sa una, tapos now. It's just me. Feeling ko it's just me who felt uncomfortable with the change. But I understand because after the events of Infinity War and Endgame, Thor really is lost. He really is. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know who he is. Hindi niya alam kung sino siya. He's really just out here. And I admit that I still find it difficult to see where Thor's story is going. But I think that's the point of being lost. We don't know. We don't know nga kasi, 'di ba? But let's see na lang. Let's see where the MCU is taking Thor. I still have hope for him or in me, I guess, to understand him better. But yeah, let's see. Matagal-tagal pa naman si Thor. Mukhang pinapahaba talaga nila si Thor. Hindi pa sila ready to let go ang isa sa ating main three Avengers. So yeah, I do think this is also some sort of commentary because in the first half of Thor films or appearances in the MCU, he's really someone who is like destined to be king of Asgard. Parang alam na natin kung anong gagawin niya in the future, alam na natin yung mangyayari sa kanya. So yeah, so now that they did a whole 180 flip on him, hopefully he gets to discover himself on his own beyond what his father and mother told him to be. Kasi sa mga magulang naman niya nalaman na Thor magiging king of Asgard ka one day, ganon. So yun, in this movie I really enjoyed a bunch of interactions that Thor had with the other characters. I really enjoyed his conversation with Zeus. I really enjoyed the first meetup he had with Jane after so many years. That was pretty funny and heartfelt, to be honest. Yung kay Zeus naman, it was really an eye opener. I feel like parang 'di ba, na-realize din naman ni Thor na isang asshole si Zeus. So it kind of reminded me of when I was young, when I used to read Percy Jackson books. And tapos na-realize ko din na, oo nga no, asshole nga talaga si Zeus. Parang gano'n, parang Zeus. Ngayon alam mo na kung ano yung naramdaman ko nung bata ako. Wow. Pero yeah, in terms of the two Thors, I really enjoyed them kicking it as Thor and Mighty Thor. The Thor duo. Parang ang daming TH na D, my God. Pero yeah, tuwang-tuwa ako sa kanila. Parang, yay, meron dalawang Thor, tapos ang ganda ng mga fight scenes nila. Parang, parang they really parang silang sumasayaw in a sense, gano'n. Sunod-sunod yung ano nila, suntok, wah, suntok. Anyway, few of my nitpicks in this movie then are that, medyo madami akong nitpick sa movie na 'to, sorry ha. Pero yeah, one of them is that Thor knows about eternity. We could have used that to bring back everyone that Thanos, snapped. Although when I do think about it, he probably doesn't know where the gate to eternity is. Siguro talaga nakakaalam. Pero alam ni Thor kung saan papunta. Siguro kasi nalaman niya kay Astrid, Axel, kasi 'di ba napro-project naman. So, siguro nahulaan niya na, alam ko kung saan 'yan. Parang, sige punta ako diyan. Also, nakita din kasi ni Jane yung plans ni Gore nung pumunta sila sa Shadow Realm. So, she probably told Thor na lang din na, "Ay, pupunta sila dito kasi nakita ko dun sa mapa," or or something like that. Pero you know what? You know that now that I mentioned it, maybe I should rewatch Thor Love and Thunder again for like the 10th time just to make sure if Thor really knows how to get there or not. But really, to be honest, sana hindi na lang nila kinonfirm na Thor knows eternity is real or that it exists. It would have been better kasi if the scene went like, wait, what? Eternity is real? I thought it was only a legend. Yung parang ganon. Because that way, we can just let it pass na, oh, okay, Thor grew up knowing eternity is a legend, so we really cannot hold this against him. So, parang 50-50 pa yung parang heartache ko na parang, ay, kasi I kind of feel betrayed in a sense na alam pala ni Thor yung eternity, pero he didn't give that as an option to retrieve everyone, 'di ba? So yun, parang medyo feeling ko na betray ako doon. Pero now that I think about it, it's kind of okay. Pero medyo parang nawala lang sa continuity, I guess. Pero yeah. Anyway, I think the thoughts that I have for Thor, he was great in Thor Ragnarok. I really, really love Thor Ragnarok. I really enjoyed that movie. So the expectations for Love and Thunder was kind of high. Taika and Chris really had this chemistry to make Thor a lovable, relatable character. I just feel like they went kind of too hard on Love and Thunder to really recreate the vibes and success of Ragnarok. For me, Ragnarok really balanced out everything, like the serious tones, yung old Thor, pero he's slowly opening up. But Love and Thunder for me really felt like it was doing too much. So sorry talaga. But it was still a great movie. I really enjoyed Love and Thunder. I just feel like I wouldn't think of it as part of the Thor movie series. I feel like I'll just think na, Thor Love and Thunder as its own thing. But yeah, I'm still excited for Thor 5 because, I want to see how the showdown between Thor and Hercules will look like. So yeah. Okay, next one. Jane Foster, the Mighty Thor, played by Natalie Portman. So it was super exciting to see her back in the MCU. And of course, this time around, she's not just Dr. Jane Foster, she is Mighty Thor. So, yeah, although may cancer siya. Kaya siya naging Mighty Thor kasi may cancer siya. So, I have to admit, I already know that she's gonna die. So, I think it kind of took away the power of the finale scene for me. Kasi alam ko na agad kung anong mangyayari. So, sorry po talaga. I was spoiled by fellow MCU fans. Kaya I try my best din talaga to avoid spoilers. So, yun. Pero it's okay lang naman. And yes, before you say that she's gonna die anyway, it's in the comics. I don't search up the comics. I'm not a comic book reader, so I didn't know. But of course, when I want to read more on a character, I will, or when I make theories on my own, I would of course read background on them on the comics. But for Thor Love and Thunder, I really made sure that I'm not gonna spoil myself too much. Pero yeah, na-spoil ako. Doon na mamamatay si Jane Foster. But it's okay. It's okay lang naman na medyo na-spoil ako. But anyway, Jane used to be very in the first few films, she's really secure. Is that the term? No, she's really guarded, I think. I think that's the term that I was looking for. But in Love and Thunder, she's let loose and mas cool and chill na siya. Ganon. But I don't blame her too. She was really going through it in Thor 1 and Dark World. So, kaya parang understandable na very guarded siya sa mga movies na yon. Kasi alam naman natin kung ano nangyari sa kanya. Very stressful. So, ito naman sa Love and Thunder, kahit stressful siya naman si Thor. So, parang ang lakas-lakas ko so I don't have to stress too much. Siyempre mase-stress na lang ako kapag nawala na si Mjolnir sa akin kasi that means I'm back to my cancer body, 'di ba? Pero yeah, if I was a Thor, I'd let loose too. Just imagine having the power of Thor, 'di ba? Oh my god. I would be so chill if I was Thor. So speaking of becoming Mighty Thor, I'm still shocked with how that turned out. Like Thor just whispered something kay Mjolnir and then Mjolnir really kept that promise. I want to read more into this, so I might do another episode on that. Probably exploring Mjolnir episode. Let's see. Let's see, maybe I can do an episode on that. But yeah, now that she's dead, of course, bumalik na si Mjolnir kay Thor. Although I feel like it's kind of quote unquote backwards of Thor to have Mjolnir again. I still don't know how to feel about it though. You know what? I think we will just see it in the future, of course. Parang bahala na. Medyo feeling ko lang kasi baliktad na parang tinuruan siya how to use his powers without without a weapon. But then in the end, in the fifth film, babalik din pala talaga si Thor sa kanyang weapons. But anyway, I also enjoyed the flashback scenes between Thor and Jane. Yung nagde-date pa sila. That was really fun. Even though I find it kind of too cheesy for a Thor film, but it was fun. It was fun seeing to their lives back then. But yeah, it was too cheesy. Oh my god. Okay, so every time Jane is on screen, I cannot help but feel joy. Parang ang saya-saya ko din. Kasi enjoy na enjoy siya sa pagiging mighty Thor. Like, this is one of the few times that I really want to become a superhero. Yeah, because I remember saying in a bunch of earlier episodes in the Pinoy MCU fan, lagi kong sinasabi that I don't want to be like a superhero. If anything in the MCU, I would rather be like I'm just a person who lives in the MCU in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm not really like a superhero type. But with Jane, she's really having so much fun being Thor that I want to be a superhero for the first time. Wow. Gusto ko na rin maging superhero, ganon. So, syempre, except the cancer part. Ayoko rin naman po talagang magkasakit, di ba? Grabe. One of my nitpicks din dito is that I kind of dislike the new design of Mjolnir. I understand, okay, I understand that it's supposed to have cracks, yes, but my favorite part in Ragnarok is that you can clearly see Hela's grip when she destroyed Mjolnir. But in this movie, Love and Thunder, I was really hoping they'd keep Hela's grip print in the pieces of broken Mjolnir. So what I mean by that is that yung middle top part ni Mjolnir is supposed to be small because that's where the grip is, right? Parang dun ka humawak kasi dun mo nasira. And then the rest of the rocks are going to be big pieces kasi crack na siya in the middle eh. So mas madali na lang siya ma-destroy yung dulo, medyo malaking piece. Does that make sense? Parang imagine mo pag nag-crack ka ng itlog, 'di ba? Yung one side kung saan mo tinulak with your thumb, yung egg, nandun yung maliliit na cracks. And then when you open it, buo pa ring iba. So I was hoping that Mjolnir is gonna look like that with the cracks. However, they redesigned Mjolnir to have a more siguro ni-redesign din nila para maging mas interesting siya in combat because we can see that Jane utilizes cracked Mjolnir to hit multiple targets at once. So, Mjolnir and Love and Thunder had more even-sized broken pieces. Lahat ng pieces nung broken pieces ni Mjolnir, mukha siyang same size na lang. Kasi if you remember, if you go back, if you go watch Ragnarok, you can see na medyo marami yung malaking piece. Tapos, basta nagva-vary yung size ng pieces. Pero yun, I kinda mourn na binago nila yung design. Kasi mas astig talaga yung original design kung yung may grip ni Hela. But yeah, anyway, aside from the design, I really enjoy though how they used it. How Jane uses the cracked Mjolnir. I really enjoy that. And when I think about it, it would kind of look weird kung they use nga yung different size na Mjolnir rocks. Kasi meron kasing malaking corner piece yun eh. So, wala nga namang may lumulutang na malaking piece na na Mjolnir. Siguro, that's gonna look weird. That's gonna look, pero hindi. Anyway, I still mourn that design. But I really liked it. I really like Jane. Okay, next one. Gore. Gore the God Butcher by Christian Bale. Played by Christian Bale. Of course, his acting here is amazing. We really cannot expect less from Christian Bale. That's literally Christian Bale. One comment for Gore is that everyone was super nervous for him. Like, I mean, the viewers are nervous parang kung anong gagawin nila kay Gore. Especially na yung mga comic fans. I have a friend who is a comic fan who was instantly disappointed when they announced Gore for Thor 4. Ako naman a non-comic reader, I wasn't expecting much because I don't know anything from the comics. So yes, neutral lang ako most of the time every time there's announcements. And I'm pretty aware as well that characters are going to be changed a lot from their comic origins. So I'm not really that, I guess, clingy dun sa comic origins nila. Yeah, and of course, if you're a new listener pala, yes, I don't read the comics. So, very MCU centered po ako. Pero, kakasabi ko nga kanina, of course, I do read the background. Yung comic origins din naman nila, binabasa ko rin. So, I'm aware. Pero of course, I don't read sometimes para avoid na lang din for spoilers. Pero of course, most of my listeners, I feel like most of you guys would know that gore is super powerful in the comics. Actually, my friend even said that he's one of the most powerful villains in the Marvel comics. Personally, of course, I'm aware that is not going to be the case in the movies because I'm aware naman how most movies in the MCU would yung pacing ng storya throughout phase 4, 5, and 6 are going to be different. And honestly, we can tell naman that Marvel Studios will really have to quote unquote dumb down a bunch of villains and characters in order to keep the franchise manageable. You know what I mean? Pero anyway, looking back at Bale's gore without comparing him to the comic counterpart, I enjoyed Gore. I really enjoyed him. Sabi ko nga kanina, I empathize with him. I really like his backstory. Although I found it questionable that parang he lost his daughter that he loves the most. But in order to lure Thor and the gang, he kidnapped Asgardian kids. It's kind of ironic, isn't it? But I feel like if you're someone who's like poisoned and infected by the necro sword, you would do things like that. So in a sense, it's kind of understandable, and I don't blame him. Blame the sword. Well, blame the necro sword. And also, I do feel for his sacrifice in the finale. He lost his daughter to starvation. So, parang masyado pong bata yung anak mo, tas namatay agad. So, if you're a parent, you'd also want your kids to experience life, of course, even if it means you'll not be able to see them grow up. So, it was really a heartfelt ending and sacrifice for Gore. And, I understand. So, anyway, going back to earlier, I said that I didn't catch the opening scene in the theater. So I totally missed that part. So when Gore was dying in eternity, I was so shocked to see that Gore's daughter is played by Chris Hemsworth's daughter. So parang na-shock ako na, oh my God, anak ni Chris Hemsworth to ganun. Sabi ko sa boyfriend ko, uy, anak yan ni Chris Hemsworth. So sabi niya, para mo nalaman. Sabi ko, pinapalo ko kasi si Chris Hemsworth eh. So nakikita ko yung anak niya, pinopost niya. Ganon. Tsaka pag tinignan mo kasi, pangalan niya India. Pag tinignan mo kasi yung anak niya, parang hindi siya kamukha ni Chris Hemsworth, ano. Pero pag tinitigan mo mabuti si India, yung anak ni Chris, kamukha niya si Luke Hemsworth. No, ano yung pangalan nung ex ni Miley Cyrus. Sorry, tinugel ko. Liam Hemsworth. Ayun, kamukha niya si Liam Hemsworth. Yeah, makikita mo. Kasi si Chris kasi, sobrang ano yung mukha niya. Sobrang ma-beard. So, hindi ko siya ma-imagine na walang beard. Pero si Liam Hemsworth kasi, merong part sa career niya na he doesn't have too much beard. So, you can kind of see. Yun pala sa Hunger Games. So, I'm sorry. I'm not a fan of Hunger Games. So, I don't know. I don't know what he looked like. Pero yun pala, I'm looking at his Google picture right now. Wala pala siyang beard sa The Hunger Games. So just if you look at India Hemsworth, he looks a lot like her uncle. 'Di ba? Tama ba? Kaya parang doon ko rin napag-connect na, ay saglit, kilala ko tong batang 'to, Hemsworth tong batang 'to, anak 'to ni Chris Hemsworth. So yun, parang gulat na gulat talaga ako sa sinehan kasi yun nga, wala akong idea na yung anak ni Gore, si India. So I guess, now that we're back to Thor, now that he's an adoptive father, of course, daughter named Love, 'di ba? Very, very very Thor Love and Thunder talaga. I kind of hope this will further the story, Thor's story into whatever path is going. It's a very classic story for like parents that some parents don't know what they're gonna do until they had their children. So I feel like that's the path that Thor is going to go. Like ngayon alam ko na kung paano ako magiging alam ko na kung saan ako pupunta kasi meron akong taong mahal na kailangan kong protektahan. So alam ko na ngayon kung anong gagawin ko. Alam ko na yung destiny ko. Wow, destiny agad. Destiny na naman. Pero yeah, I feel like that's how it's gonna be for Thor now that he has a daughter, adoptive daughter, right? And I really enjoyed that finale scene that they were like running. And I enjoyed how Korg said that they are known as Love and Thunder. It really a full circle moment for this movie. So it was amazing. I just read that we all know that there's going to be a Thor 5 film because we saw Hercules in the mid credit scene. And then we also saw at the end of the film, it says Thor will return. And actually, I read that Chris Hemsworth and Taika didn't know that Thor is coming back in the MCU, which makes sense because I don't think that Thor Love and Thunder is a good ending movie for Thor. It's not really the end for Thor. And now that he's a dad, and of course, lalaki din naman yung anak niya, that can help further. Alam niyo yung, sorry ang papakat-kat yung thoughts ko. Pero hindi, no, I just think that love, kasi anak, pangalan ng anak is Love. I do think that love is going to be important, especially now that we know that we feel like Marvel Studios is setting up Young Avengers. So probably by the time that they set up Young Avengers, Love is going to be at age to join Young Avengers. So again, we all know that Marvel Studios tend to change stuff around. So the Guardians of the Galaxy in the comics is very different to the Guardians of the Galaxy that we know now. And then, so also for the Thunderbolts, yun nga, kaka-announce lang din. The Thunderbolts in the comics is very different to the Thunderbolts that we're gonna see on the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So for Young Avengers, it's very possible that love might be part of them. So yeah, if India is going to still play that character, I don't know. We also don't know kung ano yung ano plano ni Chris Hemsworth dun sa anak niya, 'di ba? Baka ito na pala yung start ng Hollywood acting gig ng mga anak niya kaya nasa ano. Oh yeah, speaking of the Hemsworth kids, yung isang anak ni Chris Hemsworth, siya yung tumatakbo na young Thor sa beginning of the movie. So yeah, that was fun. Pero yung the rest on ng mga anak nila, Christian Bale, ni Natalie Portman, ni Taika Waititi, nasa ano, nandun sila sa Asgardian Kids. So yeah. So before we end this episode, I would like to of course share na rin my thoughts on Thor's future. So bali uulitin ko lang din talaga yung sinabi ko all throughout this episode. Ayun nga, medyo magulo yung I personally, hindi ko maintindihan kung saan pupunta si Thor. Pero, I do hope that now that he's a dad, it's gonna help him be on track of where he's going. Kasi we all know that he's basically alone now. He only has Valkyrie, but Valkyrie cannot be there for him all the time because Valkyrie is running a country. So now he has love. He has a daughter. And yun nga, sabi ko kanina, when you're a parent, it gives you purpose din talaga. So hopefully, love gives Thor purpose. And hopefully with that purpose, Thor finds his direction to whatever he's gonna do. And of course, in terms of the bigger picture of the Kang Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars, I have no idea. I honestly have no idea at all because I haven't read much on Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. Although I really do want to read some of them now, like really do a deep dive on those stories and just to theorize the future that we're all going in the MCU. But I think it's still early. Even though may titles na tayo, it might be still too early to theorize Kang Dynasty and especially Secret Wars. So yeah, for now, this is Thor Love and Thunder really does not it really doesn't connect to any MCU film besides his own. Kasi 'di ba, yun nga sa dulo si Hercules tapos sinabi sa kanya ni Zeus, yung tatay niya na, "Huy, hulihin mo si ano, patayin mo si Thor," or some shit like that. So, very Thor, ano pa rin yung direction ng Thor Love and Thunder. It doesn't really give input of like the other stuff that's happening within the MCU. Except na we did spend some time with Guardians of the Galaxy. Even that, we don't really know much connection. Basta magkakasama lang talaga sila. Yun lang yun. Wala din connection masyado yung Guardians of the Galaxy into the other. To its own, di ba alam natin na Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 na. Even that we don't have, I feel like we didn't have any connection. Wala tayong connection or like Easter egg na nakita towards that film. So yeah, it's very standalone film yung dating ng Thor Love and Thunder for me. So yeah. And I think that's it for today's episode. And if you guys think I forgot to mention some of the stuff, or you guys have any opinions on Thor Love and Thunder, please do not hesitate to let me know and message me on Instagram. You guys know the drill. My DMs are always open. I will wait for your comments. And yeah, talk to you guys soon. Bye! Thanks for listening to the Pinoy MCU Fan. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To connect with me, you can follow or message me on social media at the.Pinoy MCU Fan. The Pinoy MCU Fan is part of the Bunk Collective. Discover more podcasts at thebunkph.com and follow us on social media at thebunkph. That's it, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye!